Hello everyone. So I found an article from Not a Tesla App with an interview with a former Tesla president, and I thought it was quite interesting, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. So let's dive in. So headline here is former Tesla president says Tesla benefits from Musk leading multiple companies. In a recent interview on CNBC, former Tesla president John McNeil addressed concerns raised by Tesla investors regarding CEO Elon Musk's management of the company. Investors had previously sent a letter to Tesla's board of directors expressing concerns about Musk's multiple commitments and the company's governance. McNeil defended Musk, stating, "I don't think he's too distracted." On the earnings call, he was answering questions on a deep level, like how neural nets work. He is involved and he has always had a lot going on. He is incredible at managing his schedule and staying involved on key topics. He also pointed out that Tesla delivers more cars than ever, with a 36% jump in the first quarter. So yeah, it's interesting to note that it seems like a lot of this pressure of Elon being distracted came up when he bought Twitter. But meanwhile, he's had multiple companies the whole time that he's been at Tesla. SpaceX, The Boring Company, Neuralink. He's a busy guy, but for some reason, when he bought Twitter, that's when a lot of people were not happy and expressed their concerns. Now, could that be because of political concerns? Mainstream media not being happy about Elon playing a role in a social media company? I don't know if that's why, but it is interesting to note that. But let's have a look at a bit of this interview.
What do you make of this whole idea of these shareholders? We've had a bunch of them even come on the program now. Yeah. Who signed this letter saying, look, you're doing too much, Elon. It's just too much. What do you think of that?
I don't think he's all that distracted away from the business. Like on the earnings call, he was answering questions at a really deep level, like on how the C++ neural nets work.
Right.
Like he's involved, and he has always had a lot going on, but he is incredible at managing his schedule and staying involved on the absolute key topics. And you see, like they are still delivering more cars than they've ever delivered. I think anybody in the car business would love a 36 comp on a quarter. And he's got a lot of margin to play with.
By the way, I don't disagree with you. What I can't figure out is, let's say he was paying more attention. What would the result be?
Yeah, what would you do about the general economic environment?
Right.
Exactly. And because they've got a lot of margin, they're using that as a weapon. And even though they cut prices 6 times this year, they still in the first quarter delivered more margin than anybody else in the industry.
Are you a believer, though, that there is this other issue, which is, he's made a lot of promises to not just the shareholders, but frankly the customers who bought the vehicles, thinking that they're getting autonomous driving, full self-drive, all sorts of different component parts of the...
I think it's interesting that he says all sorts of things, but the only thing he mentions is full self-driving, which, yeah, Elon has made a lot of comments that it would be ready, this year, and it still hasn't happened. I guess you could throw in the Cybertruck as well, but the Cybertruck is going to be starting production this year, but it did take quite a while. But other than that, the host's comments here, it's just full self-driving that he's promised on and customers are still waiting for.
The product that have not come to fruition. I say that somewhat politely because I do know some owners of these cars that are like genuinely upset because they think they were sold a bill of goods.
Yeah, I think he is good at delivering eventually on promises, but not on time on his promises, and that's got to be frustrating for customers. And I think now you see competition coming both on the EV side and on the autonomous vehicle side.
Right.
And I think they're feeling that competition for sure.
But one of the things you heard this year was he said, look, by the end of this year, I think we're going to have full autonomous driving, and that's where we're going to make it up on the margin, right?
Yes.
He thinks that, he's saying, look, we'll take a lower margin today because I'm going to be able to really get margin later.
Right.
And I think there's some investors, at minimum, who are saying, are you really going to be able to get margin later? Because A, there's all of these other car companies that are doing EVs that are going to try to take your margin, and B, is this full self-driving thing, robo-taxis, and all the ways you think you're capturing this margin in the future, is that a realistic future?
Yeah, I think that's what he's asking you to believe as an investor is, can you make this up in the future with software revenues and other revenues that are going to come in off the car? That's what you're being asked to believe as an investor.
And I'm asking you,
I disagree that that's what investors are being asked at the moment. I think too much attention was put on Elon's comment of, we might drop our margins down to zero. He said that, but that's not the case at the moment. Tesla still has industry-leading margins. Do you want to own a company that has industry-leading margins, or do you want to own a company that's losing money on electric vehicles? Well, if you ask me, I want to own the company that has industry-leading margins on electric vehicles, which is where the automotive market is going, in my opinion. I want to look forward and be where the puck is going, not where the puck has been.
You would land on that?
I think the market is kind of speaking on that. I think in the long term, this is a huge market. They're a market leader. They've got market leading margins. And so as an investor, you're investing into a space that could be 10 times larger, right, literally in 5 years than it is today. So even with...
But as an automobile company or as this other thing? Because right now it's still... to capture this type of valuation,
yes,
it could be 10 times larger just as an automobile company, forgetting about Tesla Energy. And yeah, if you have doubts that they can solve full self-driving, we're forgetting about that as well. So it can be 10 times bigger just with the automotive side of Tesla's business. But that's not all Tesla is. Tesla is a software company as well. They have industry-leading software. Now, if they solve full self-driving, which I believe they will, I think we're looking at more than a 10x potential going ahead, say, 10 years.
Even this valuation, you have to believe it's something else.
That's right, because they're valued at 10x their competition. And
right,
so you've got to believe that there's something else, and that competition is coming now with autonomous vehicles.
Okay, but so you used to work with this guy,
Yeah.
So is there something else?
There is a lot of capability to deliver.
Also a note on the comparison to traditional automotive. They seem to suggest that traditional automotive, that's fair value. They're valued correctly. Well, I'm just one investor, but I see traditional automotive as potentially going bankrupt. Whereas I do not see bankruptcy anywhere in Tesla's future. So I don't think it's a fair comparison to say like, oh, well, Tesla's valued 10 times more than GM or Ford or whoever in the traditional automotive world. I think there's probably enough investors out there who are saying, we don't know if traditional automotive manufacturers can make this transition to the electric vehicle world. So we're going to hold off. So their valuation is going to be much tighter than a company like Tesla that is already in the world of electric vehicles and always has been, and clearly has shown that, yeah, we're going to do well in that space. Traditional automotive manufacturers have not proven that they're going to do well in the electric vehicle space. So their evaluation is going to reflect that. So their evaluation will be very low. So it's easy for Tesla to be 10 times the valuation of a traditional automotive company at the moment.
Margins off of that platform, those cars. But GM's got a very similar strategy and a very similar capability, and others do too. Right. So this space becomes more crowded for sure. I have
one question about, not the distraction piece, but the ecosystem that is Elon, which is to say, one of the things you keep hearing about is, so he has Twitter, he's now talking about doing generative AI, he's got SpaceX. There is this sense that, and he owns Twitter outright as a private company, Tesla, public company, SpaceX, private company, but lots of investors in there.
Yeah.
He does move these engineers around from place to place to place to place to help in specific moments. There was a period of time where we heard that a lot of Tesla engineers were showing up on the doorstep of Twitter to try to assess what's really happening. Folks at SpaceX, now the whole generative AI situation, how that's, and he's got a lot of AI folks inside Tesla that he's going to want to use in other places. How should a shareholder feel about that? In the sort of normal context, there would be people who would say, no.
Notice how he only points out the employees, the engineers going to Twitter. Whereas, as the former Tesla president will point out, well, what about when the SpaceX engineers came to Tesla and helped Tesla develop better practices for manufacturing, better material practices? The media seems to be focused on this Twitter. There's something about Twitter that they don't like. They don't want Elon at Twitter. They're not happy about that. Elon can do any kind of engineering thing, that's fine. But now that he's with Twitter, they don't like it.
That guy works for you over here. He does not work for you over here.
It drives, believe it or not, some massive breakthroughs. There are SpaceX metallurgy engineers, materials engineers who've really transformed the way the Model Y gets produced.
Right.
And so you get these big breakthroughs by moving that talent and context switching them. So yeah, I can understand one side of the story where investors are upset. The other side of the story that doesn't really get told is how much value they add back to Tesla as they come in and help.
Yeah, the article continues here. McNeil acknowledged the growing competition in the EV market and the autonomous vehicle sector, but he sees it as a driving force for innovation. Competition is coming with autonomous vehicles, and there's a lot of capability to deliver margins off that platform and those cars. GM has a similar strategy, and others do too. It drives breakthroughs, he said. Yes, but as I mentioned, I don't think any traditional automotive company has proven themselves to be a winner in the space of electric vehicles yet. They're continuing to lose money on it. They need their internal combustion engine business to fund the transition, and that's going to take a long time and a lot of money. It's risky. As an investor, I'd be worried if they can actually make that transition. If you think they can, yeah, maybe it's a good buy right now. Personally, I don't. I struggle to see a lot of them surviving. There might be one or two that can make it, but they're going to have a rough go to get there. And which one is going to make it, I'm not sure. So I'm not willing to put my money in any of the traditional automotive manufacturers at the moment. And I think there's a lot of people who are in that camp as well, and that's why the low valuations for traditional automotive at the moment. The article continues on. Musk has access to the best engineers in the world. He also highlighted the benefits of Musk's involvement in multiple companies such as SpaceX, as it leads to cross-pollination of talent and innovation. There are SpaceX materials engineers who really transform the way the Model Y gets produced. By moving the talent and content and switching them, you get breakthroughs, McNeil explained. While understanding the investor's concern, McNeil shed light on the value that Musk's multiple commitments bring to Tesla, which is often overlooked in narrative. Yes, they look at the negative, but they don't see the positive very often. In addition, his defense of Musk's management style serves as a counterpoint to the concerns raised by investors in their letter to Tesla's board of directors. As the EV market continues to grow and competition intensifies, it remains to be seen how Tesla will adapt to the changing landscape and address investor concerns. With McNeil's insights, the debate around Musk's management style and impact on the company will likely continue among investors and industry observers. Another thing I would highlight is who are the people who penned this letter asking for more of a commitment from Elon Musk to Tesla. I wouldn't be surprised to see some groups that wouldn't be fans of Elon for his takeover of Twitter. Media moguls or groups that are of a certain nature that get rubbed the wrong way by some of the things that Elon has said and done. Reminds me of Stephen Mark Ryan today in his video. He's from the Solving the Money Problem channel. You know, if you don't like what's happening at the company, you don't have to own the shares. So, you know, it is an option to sell the shares and move on. But they seem to want to hold on and to. It seems like to me the goal seems to be, Elon, just get away from Twitter, go back to Tesla, and then we'll be happy. That seems to be the goal here. Those are my thoughts. That's it for this one. My name's Evan Bertrand. Please like the video if you liked it. Click on the wheel on the bottom right to subscribe. And thanks for watching.